Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business here. Today I want to talk to you guys about how I come up with so many different content topics. A lot of different content creators have talked to me and said things like, I struggle to be able to do something every day like you. Even sometimes coming up with one topic a week is challenging. What do I do? What do you do? How do I tackle this? Because, I've seen people who say stuff like, I can't imagine making one video a day. Me, I look at someone like Tim Pool and I say, I can't imagine making 5, 6, 7 videos a day plus a podcast every week. Or, there's so many people who are doing so much more than what we're doing that, it always inspires me. And I think I'm never doing enough. So I think while that can also be, a lot of pressure on yourself, I think it is a good way to push you and motivate you to do more by looking at people instead of being like, that's overwhelming. Be like, look, if they can do 5, I should be able to do 1. That's the way that I look at it. And, it takes me 3-4 hours a day. And some people say, that's not possible. And I would again say, everyone's got 3 or 4 hours that they can dedicate and sacrifice if they really wanted to. But in terms of actually, like, what's the creative process for being able to come up with so much content? The very, very first thing is, what are you trying to provide? There's 2 super basic things, right? I mean, the only thing you're providing really that you should aim to provide is value. Now, beyond value, you've got education and you've got entertainment. You can either do a mix of the 2, you can do one or the other, but outside of that, it's going to be very challenging to provide value in some way, right? People are either looking for value in education or entertainment. There isn't a lot else that is going to bring you value. So first, figuring out what it is that you're doing. I think it is actually much more challenging to bring entertainment value. It's a lot more, sketch writing. You have to come up with a lot of original content and a lot of things like that. When it's educational, you might have more time spent on research, but it's usually sharing things that already exist, right? If I go through library and I share what's on library, or I go through their FAQ, that already it exists, right? It's already out there. I'm just helping present the information. So me personally, I actually find it's a lot easier to do education, but again, there is a lot of prep time that goes into that as well. It's just original content is very challenging to come up with. And, I applaud people who are entertainers who are able to come up with a lot of original content, because that is very, very challenging. And then you've got people who are sort of a mix of the 2, right? Joe Rogan is entertaining, and a lot of his guests are to educate people. So a good mix of the 2 is great as well. And it really just depends what you're trying to do. I think that is really important to first zero in on and ensure that you know exactly what you're actually trying to do, so that your audience knows too, right? And then from there on, you should have some sort of document or notebook or something that you always have access to, that you should just scribble ideas into, or jot down topics anytime, like throughout the day, at night, wake up in the middle of the night, write something down, whatever, right? I'll share with you what I'm doing. So I've got content that I'm waiting on. So there's obviously different ways that you can lay everything out and organize as you want to. This looks a little awkward from another person's perspective, but for me, this is super, super organized. Anything in yellow is something that I'm waiting on to do in the future. Whether it's ensuring that I have the correct information from someone, or with the Hive airdrop, I'm waiting for the actual airdrop conclusion to happen so I can update people, because I promised I would. Anything green is something ready for me to record, and anything bold is already recorded and I just need to get it posted. And then there's different things for requiring that I do research or recording, but it's not prepped. So a lot of this green stuff I've already actually prepped in some way or written something, whereas the blue, I haven't actually like prepared anything yet. I always like to include written descriptions and things with my videos, because I notice that most people don't, because it's tedious and it takes a lot of their time. But I think it's very beneficial to have something for people to read as well. So I try to strive to do that. But it's just sort of coming on every day and jotting 1 or 2 ideas down. I try to add at least 1 a day so that I'm never really running out. And, since I know I'm trying to provide education, well, that makes it really easy for me to, jot down library tutorials, right? I have a whole list of like 20 or 30 library tutorials on another document because it was taking up so much space here. I'm doing the same for Brave and a lot of other platforms and things. I've got stuff that's coming up, stuff that I want to talk about. It's really just like you see something that you're interested in, write it down. Maybe you'll cover it in the future. If you don't end up getting around to it and, it's timely and it doesn't, you don't end up covering it, then that's fine, right? You can just remove it. It obviously wasn't so important if you weren't able to get to it. Because eventually you'll get to the point where you have so much to cover that you're not able to cover all of it. And that's where I'm at. Originally, you might have the problem of not having enough. And then once you really get in the groove of trying to track all of your ideas and just keep all of them in one spot, you'll realize eventually you'll have so many that you'll almost be overwhelmed with the stuff that you have to cover. I really enjoy this because it's like, I'll be showering and I'll think of a thought and I'll come out and I'll write it down. I'll be asleep and I'll think of something and I'll wake up and I'll write it down. Talking to other content creators kind of blows my mind if they're struggling to come up with like one topic every week when there's so much going on. Even if you were to just look at crypto news, for example, or just any news, you could come up with commentary for, a weekly podcast. But in terms of, it's really just, if you're interested in it, other people will likely be interested as well. And one of my favorite quotes by Alan Watts is, to be interesting, you need to be interested, because people who are interested in things become interesting to other people because of their knowledge and experience with it that those people do not have but might be curious about. So if you want to be interesting, you have to get interested in something. And then sharing that with the world is an amazing way for you and others to benefit in terms of the value that they get from your content and in terms of the value that you give them, and then the value that you get from monetization. And I get value from people enjoying my content because it's fulfilling for me to know that I'm helping other people learn and that, it's actually improving other people's lives when I get comments that where people are thanking me or saying this was extremely helpful or impactful. That is extremely fulfilling, more so than, most things in my life. I would say it's extremely fulfilling to help other people with your content and be rewarded for that with a monetary compensation at the same time. I think that's easily the best way to go about doing anything, is to be rewarded for providing a lot of value to other people, and then everyone wins, right? So yeah, I just kind of wanted to briefly talk about content topics today, because I think it's important for people to, just be more conscious of, if you do want to create content, you got to kind of get in that zone very regularly, and then it just becomes second nature to you. Some other tips that I've written down here to share with you are like recording and prepping multiple episodes at once, batching, to make your life easier and keep you sort of focused rather than, changing tasks a lot. I'll write out like 3 blogs, and then I'll go and I'll record 3 videos all at once so that I've got content for the next 3 days. And then I don't have to worry so much about recording or whatever. I've got it all ready to go. And when I need to, I can go and edit and then publish. And I think getting, ahead of your content is going to make it a lot easier, and there'll be a lot less pressure on you from yourself and your audience to be like trying to come up with something every day and recording something every day and doing something every day. It makes it a lot easier for you to just batch it. And then again, talking about what you like, break it up into series, spread out the content. Don't record, 2 hours worth of you talking about one thing. You could break that up into 20 episodes if you wanted. So you've also got to be conscious of how much can you actually record, right? If you find that you can only come up with 2 hours of content a week, then that gives you enough content to do, I don't know, like 20 minutes every day or something like that. So, and then, it also depends on cadence too. Like if you're happy with doing a 2-hour video or podcast once a week, then that's completely fine too. This is kind of just coming back to people who are struggling to come up with more content, who want to produce more content, especially in the time we're in today where, everyone's at home and everything. This is the perfect time for people to try this kind of stuff out and see if they like it and if it's fulfilling for them. And with platforms like Library, you can start earning from day one. So it's extremely encouraging. And change things up. If you're struggling to come up with content, you can try to encourage like Ask Me Anything or Q&A with your audience. Do live streams. You could change it up and do like a vlog, do behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that you can do that might not be exactly on topic, but still relevant to your audience. And I think a lot of people who follow influencers and different creators always appreciate that stuff, but the creators think in the back of their mind, like I think in the back of my mind, would someone really want to know that? They follow me for education. Would they really care if I did, Family Guy impressions or something, which is what I'm going to upload later today as well, as a Library exclusive. So you can see that on Library. But people are interested in that stuff. People want more content. If you give them more, like you're not going to see a backlash for that, unless you're just putting out really irrelevant content that makes no sense to your audience, right? Like if I started putting out like food reviews, people would be pretty confused as to what my channel, like what's happening to my channel. So just getting really involved in the space and just talking about things that you're interested in and getting involved is so key. I think for me, it's very easy for me to talk about blockchain social platforms because I'm on, 25, 30 platforms. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of topics that I could cover. And thus, it's not very challenging for me to, randomly come up with a topic to cover for the day if I needed to. Mind you, I've got so much to cover that I haven't even really been recording a ton of ideas lately. But if you're very, very involved in the space and you're doing what you're interested in, there should be a wealth of topics for you to cover. Otherwise, maybe you're not as interested in the thing as you thought you were, or maybe you're holding certain topics or content on a pedestal and you're thinking that other topics that you are interested in are not worthy of sharing. I think anything that you're interested in, there's a good chance that your audience might like it as well, because presumably that's why they're following your content. So that's pretty much everything from me. I just wanted to sort of break down some of the things that I recommend for people to try when they're struggling to come up with new types of content or things to talk about. This is mainly for content creators, but this really could be for anyone. I'm sure there's a lot of like little nuggets in here that are relevant for the average users of different platforms that you could apply to different things in your life. Any kind of presentation, any kind of thing that you're doing, any kind of content that is being made, it can be improved, right? I'm always trying to improve my content. And I think that is also a very, very important thing to keep in mind. If you want to improve your content over time, you've always got to be trying to rework it in some way. I'm always reworking my thumbnails. That's one of the biggest things for me. I'm always finding ways to improve it. I'm always finding ways to improve my videos, my lighting. Years in, I'm still finding so many things to adjust and improve upon. So anyone can do the same thing, even if it comes to your creative process. Some people are more creative than others. But I think when it comes to content creation, there's days where we do want to create and days where we don't want to create, days where we're more creative, days when we're less. So if you get in the habit of just trying to do every single day to get something going, I think you can just make it a habit. So even the days where I don't want to record, I've either done what I said before and I already recorded the video, or I just kind of push through it because it's like, this is my daily routine now. This is normal. It's not so like, I don't have to motivate myself because this is just my lifestyle. And you can't really tell the days that I wasn't totally feeling it when I made a video versus the day that I actually wanted to make a video. Mind you, most days I am motivated to make a video because, as I said before, I enjoy what I do, and I think everyone else should. But not everyone's going to be able to make a lifestyle from this or live off of this. I've been doing this for 3 years and I'm still not there. But in the past 6 months, I've been rapidly getting closer to that point. So I would love to see that for other people too. And I hope this helps in some way spur your creativity and help with your creative process for coming up with different content topics and different things that you could cover yourself, regardless of the field that you're in, whether it's crypto or it's gardening or whatever it might be. There's always stuff that you can cover, and anyone who's interested in the same things that you're interested in will probably want to check it out, as long as you're trying to provide them with value. And again, if you are interested in something, there's always going to be someone else who's interested in that same thing, given it's not like illegal or something. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I'd love to hear your process for, coming up with different content and different topics and things like that. What does your creative workflow look like? I would love to hear that in the comments below. Maybe it'll help me, maybe it'll help others. I think it's great when we all kind of share our processes and our experience together in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching up to this point. Since you did, it would be awesome if you could give this video a like, and if you could comment down below #1ham. That way I know that you watched the full video. Also, it would be great if you guys could follow me, subscribe to my channel. You can follow me and find me everywhere under @ScottCBusiness. And also, sharing this video makes a huge impact. If you'd like to support me more directly, you can donate to scottcbusiness.crypto or scottcbusiness.eth. And that covers a lot of my main addresses for Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ripple. As always, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.